The following is the same dictation at 170 words per minute for 5 minutes. Question. What? Answer. All material was asbestos containing. Question. Okay, so that answer. For the purpose of our sampling. Question. So I just want to make sure the record is clear as to your understanding about the basis for the sampling. When you took samples from that equipment room in this building in the gymnasium area, that the samples you took were representative of all the fittings that you surveyed in that area, in that part of the building, that you in any way assumed might contain asbestos. Correct? Answer. First of all, I did not actually take the samples in the equipment room, but I think in order to answer your question, yes, going into an area, whether it be the equipment room specifically or any other area, we would take our samples representative based on the understanding that they were assumed to be positive for asbestos. Question. Okay, now, with regard to the equipment room, do you know who took the samples? Answer. I'm not sure at this point who did actually take those samples. No. Question. Is it based on a review of the original survey? I'll call it the Pratt survey. Does it appear that the samples were taken then or thereafter? Answer. It would be my estimate that they were taken during the initial survey. Yes. Question. Okay. Answer. And I'd state, without a reasonable doubt that they were. Question. Okay. Now, with regard to what I call the Blackburn Company resurvey, am I correct that the resurvey was done to go in and make sure that the protocol had been followed in this building? Answer. To the best of my knowledge, I can't say that for sure in that particular area. If we, as I stated earlier, we were sent back in originally for some discrepancy in the auditorium area, then, kind of going from that information, you proceeded with a resurvey. I cannot say again without any doubt that we did resurvey that particular room in the, as you refer to it, the Blackburn Company survey. Question. Okay, was it when you did the Blackburn Company resurvey, were there any areas aside from the auditorium problem, which is not according to this fittings area, were there any other areas that you were told or that you understood were something you ought to check more closely because of this type of problem, aside from the auditorium? Answer. Nothing that was specifically pointed out. No. Question. Okay, now, let me just focus a little more on where the exhibit F513, both page 1 of 6, which is the first one, and page 4 of 6 of that same exhibit, which references the survey room. And if you need to get closer, fine. I just want you to be comfortable. You testified on direct that you're not sure whether the boiler room, which had some samples taken from it, was actually located in the gymnasium part of the L of this building, or in, I'll refer to F511, in the academic school part of the L. Is that correct? Answer. That's correct. Question. All right. Did you in any way prepare page 4 of 6, which represents a blow-up of the Howard drawing and fitting sample areas for that room? Answer. I would not have prepared the actual drawing that you see there. I don't recall whether or not we produced a hand-drawn sketch that this was later produced from, but to my knowledge, I really don't recall. Question. Okay, when you say we, you mean you or Mr. Blackburn? Answer. Yes. Question. You were a team, that's no problem. I wanted to make sure we understand that. Was this furnace room or boiler room or whatever it's been called, was that part of the resurvey that was done by the Blackburn Company team? Answer. Yes. Well, there is an indication of a furnace room survey that was done by the Blackburn Company survey. Question. Okay, where does that appear on the F58 work survey record? Answer. That would be page 15. Question. And where on? Just for the record, I think I see it. Could you just tell me where that is? Answer. That would be the last 2 line entries at the bottom of the page. Question. That says furnace room? Answer. Yes. Question. I'll just indicate that it's a boiler room. I'm just trying to make sure we've got the same language here. Answer. To be quite honest with you, I'm not quite sure where the designation of furnace room came from. Question. And I know that you said on direct, and you've said a couple of times, that you're not sure which of the 2 parts of the building the boiler room was in. But let me just ask you, on page 4 of 6, you have a drawing of, when I say you, I mean Howard, has a drawing that contains a boiler and a hot water heater and tank and a stack covering and a hot water storage tank and that sort of thing. Do you see that on the drawing? Answer, yes I do. Question, okay. Do you know if there dash is? I was actually 5 seconds fast on that, so it was probably more like 171 words a minute rather than 170 words a minute. But that does conclude the 5 minutes, a couple seconds fast.